Today, we delve into the tragic story of Roa al-Danoon, a young mother whose life came to a heartbreaking end in a case that shook Lakewood, Ohio. What happened to her, and how did justice prevail? Stay with us as we unravel the events that led to one of the most chilling domestic violence crimes in recent history. Background of ROAA. Roa was a 25-year-old mother who immigrated to the United States from Iraq. Like many who fled war-torn regions, she came searching for peace, stability, and a brighter future for her young son. Described by friends and family as warm, kind-hearted, and fiercely devoted to her child, she dreamed of building a better life for herself and her son. However, she faced numerous challenges as a single mother and an immigrant. Adapting to a new culture while raising her son wasn't easy, but she remained determined to give him the best opportunities possible. Tragically, her pursuit of happiness would be cut short in a way no one could have imagined. The disappearance. It was October 16, 2016 when Roa's friends and family grew concerned. She had suddenly stopped answering her phone calls and wasn't responding to messages. She was known for her consistent communication, especially given her devotion to her 3-year-old son. When no one could reach her, worry quickly turned into panic. 3 days passed with no contact from her. Concerned for her well-being, her employer reported her missing. On October 19, 2016, Detective Kevin Kohu was dispatched to conduct a welfare check at her apartment. Receiving no answer, the detective contacted the building's maintenance supervisor for a duplicate key. The neighbor reported that they hadn't seen Roa or her son recently, which struck the detectives as odd. A foul odor emanating from her apartment further heightened their suspicions. When the maintenance worker arrived and opened the door, Detective Kohu immediately sensed something sinister. Her room was chaotic, with things all over the place. In contrast, her son's room was tidy and had some packed bags. When the authorities entered the kitchen, they found the source of the terrible smell. The untouched meal, the spoiled jug of milk, and the chaotic state of her room strongly suggested a hasty departure. It seemed as if she and her son had been taken from the apartment in a hurry. Despite the apparent chaos, the possible abductor hadn't attempted to conceal any evidence, leaving the detective with no immediate leads. With 2 missing persons, including a young child, time was of the essence. The investigation expanded. Contacting Al-Danoon's workplace yielded a startling revelation. She had been stalked. Roa hadn't immigrated to the United States alone. She had fled with her abusive ex-husband, Fahad Mohammed Fahad, 27. While they initially dreamt of a better future for themselves and their son, her hopes were shattered by the reality of her husband's abusive behavior. In November 2015, she took a stand, filing a restraining order against him. After enduring repeated acts of violence, she finally filed for divorce and was granted custody of their son. Court orders were issued to keep Fahad away from her and their child. This should have brought an end to her ordeal, but tragically, more horrors were yet to unfold. The investigation and breakthrough. The detective learned that Roa worked at a restaurant where her close friend, Hamza, was also employed. On October 22, 2016, Hamza was brought in for questioning. When asked about his last encounter with Roa, he stated that he had seen her on the evening of October 16th, the night she vanished. He explained that he had spent time with her at her apartment, enjoying a hookah session, but they were not alone. Hamza revealed that she was afraid of Fahad, who had stalked her and often lurked outside her apartment. On the day of her disappearance, she was still fearful of him and checked to ensure the coast was clear before letting Hamza leave. Hamza said that as Roa tried to check for Fahad, she saw him lingering in the hallway. Her fear of her ex-husband outside her door that night prompted her to send Hamza out the back, raising suspicions about Fahad. The investigators also discovered Fahad had violated a temporary protection order, providing grounds for his arrest. On October 25, 2016, they obtained a warrant and went to his workplace to apprehend him. Detective David Kappa realized that they wouldn't be able to communicate with suspect effectively as he only spoke Arabic. Despite the language barrier, they needed to proceed with the arrest and interrogate him about his missing ex-wife. Fahad complied with his arrest and remained calm during interrogation. When asked about the last time he saw his ex-wife, his response raised suspicion due to one particular detail that caught the detective's attention. He stated that Roa was last seen at his house, where she had gone to a party. According to him, she never returned after that, and stopped responding to his text messages. His statement to the Lakewood police shifted their focus to his home as a possible crime scene, making him the last person to her and revealing his custody order violation. He was arrested and jailed, but her disappearance remained a mystery. The detectives suspected her apartment was the starting point, noting a foul smell during their second visit. Hamza revealed Fahad had been outside Roa's apartment the day she vanished, but his confession seemed to omit key details, deepening the web of lies. The law enforcement brought Hamza back to the station for further questioning, and it was there that he exposed his lie. The officers attempted to corner Hamza by accusing him of having an affair with Roa while pretending to be just friends. Hamza's aggressive denial and concern for his reputation gave the detectives leverage to press him about his involvement in Roa's disappearance. The detectives had no breakthrough in solving the mystery of Aldanoon's disappearance. One suspect was locked up for a different crime, while another had cleared himself after passing a polygraph test. Determined to dig deeper, Detective Pat Foy decided to investigate Fahad's phone records since he was the last person to see her. Interestingly, he discovered an unknown phone number that Fahad had been in contact with during the period when she may have disappeared. Detectives identified Amar Sami, a friend of Fahad's, after tracking his phone to the apartment of the individual under investigation. On November 9, 2016, Amar was questioned at the Lakewood police station. Cooperative from the start, he explained that he met with Fahad to smoke cigarettes and later went to Walmart alone, denying any knowledge of Roa's whereabouts. This lead appeared to be a dead end for the investigation. However, to pressure him into confessing, Detective Foy warned Amar that he could face deportation if it turned out he was hiding something. Amar provided little information to the detectives and couldn't be held as he came voluntarily. However, his story unraveled when Detective Jacobs reviewed Walmart CCTV footage, revealing that Amar, contrary to his claim, wasn't alone after dropping Fahad off. Amar's lies and the suspicious late-night purchase of a shovel from Walmart raised suspicions, leading to a second round of questioning. His role shifted from merely being in contact with Fahad to potential involvement in his ex-wife's disappearance. This suspicion arose as both men had recently purchased shovels, suggesting their possible involvement in her death and the disposal of her body. With his back against the wall, Amar decided to take another chance and lie to the detective. However, this time, the detectives were fully aware of who they were dealing with. Amar's claim of misunderstanding questions due to his medication, leading to his arrest for obstructing justice. Despite both suspects in custody, Roa's fate remained unclear. A court-imposed deadline forced their release 2 months later. In January 2017, Fahad received a 6-month sentence for violating a custody order, giving the authorities limited time to solve the case as their investigation stalled with no leads. As Fahad was sent to prison, it began to feel like a futile move for the detective. Little did they know, however, that this action had set off a domino effect that would ultimately uncover the horrific events of the night Roa went missing. The confession and discovery. On April 2, 2017, a crucial breakthrough occurred in the investigation when a woman contacted authorities. She revealed that her boyfriend, a fellow inmate of Fahad, had confided in him about the disappearance of his ex-wife. Recognizing the need for an Arabic-speaking accomplice, Fahad had sought his help. The detective soon uncovered Hamza's minor involvement, but shifted focus to Fahad, who had confessed to an inmate about his perfect crime. Concerned the seasonal rains might expose Roa's burial site, Fahad sought help to conceal his crime, inadvertently tipping off investigators. On May 15, 2017, guided by Fahad's hand-drawn map, investigators and the FBI located Roa's remains in a duffel bag buried close to a ravine in the Cleveland suburb of Brooklyn. Forensic experts positively identified Aldanoon's body through fingerprint analysis. The cause of death remains under investigation, but authorities have classified her death as a homicide. With just 2 months remaining in his sentence, Fahad was brought back for questioning after the discovery of his ex-wife's body. Facing the same detectives who had investigated his case in 2016, the focus of the interrogation shifted from custody violations to the full extent of his crimes. Unaware of the discovery of Aldanoon's body, he listened intently as Detective Jacobs recounted the events surrounding her disappearance. While the detective's theory was almost accurate, he was off by just one detail. Furthermore, he discovered that Fahad had not been entirely truthful with the inmate who had exposed his plan to the detective. The detective also learned that Roa had nearly fallen for Fahad's deceitful scheme and was on the verge of reconciling with him. However, in her final moments, she made the courageous choice to fight for her freedom, refusing to return to the dark place she had worked so hard to escape. Fahad confessed to strangling his ex-wife in a fit of rage. Tragically, their 3-year-old son was present during the horrific act. Based on investigative leads, authorities believe Fahad placed his son with a close friend. The child's specific whereabouts were not publicly disclosed to protect his privacy and well-being. Disturbingly, Fahad also admitted that his 3-year-old son had witnessed the burial. The toddler later told FBI agents, "Daddy put mommy in the pickies near the horses," referring to the park's carousel. The entire ordeal undoubtedly left the child with deep emotional scars. The trial and sentencing. In 2018, Fahad stood trial for the murder of Roa. Key evidence, including surveillance footage, an inmate's testimony, and his confession, revealed his premeditated actions. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison, followed by deportation. He faced a multi-count indictment, including charges of kidnapping, aggravated burglary, stalking, felonious assault, abuse of a corpse, and the murder of his ex-wife. His accomplice, Amar Sami, received an 18-month sentence for aiding in the crime. While the verdict provided some measure of closure, it could not alleviate the profound grief experienced by Roea's family, particularly her young son. The impact and legacy. Roea's death deeply impacted the Lakewood community, highlighting the dangers faced by women escaping abuse, particularly immigrant women. Her son, growing up without his mother, remains a poignant reminder of domestic violence's devastating toll. Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay safe and take care.